So this is my family portrait. It was actually drawn by my younger son when he was 5. And you can see the artist all the way at one end. He's the one holding the police truck. And next to him is his brother, my other son. He's holding a baseball card. And at this end, you will see Mommy. She's looking over her brood with pride. And right in the center is me, is Daddy. And Daddy, I am holding an iPhone. So you can imagine this was a pretty heartbreaking moment for me. It blew a hole through my self-image as a devoted dad. I mean, I'm the one who races home to throw a baseball before dark. I spend so much more time with my kids than my parents ever spent with me. In fact, according to a study out of UC Irvine, parents today spend so much more time with their children than they did 50 years ago. But, like a lot of people, I'm also busy, and my phone had become like a mobile office. I can email, I can text, I can look things up, I can stay up to date with the news, which meant that all that time spent with my kids was actually time that was shared with my device. And so in that moment, when I saw this family portrait, I decided I had to do something dramatic. I decided I had to make a change. I decided I would try to tackle my nomophobia. Nomophobia is a real thing. It is the fear of being out of mobile phone contact. And there's actually a move to get this term inserted into the DSM when it's next updated. So in an instant, I turned my smartphone into a dumb phone. I deleted Twitter and Facebook and all the news apps that I use, all the listicle sites, my ability to send and receive emails. And what I was left with was a telephone that takes pictures. Now, this epiphany happened a short time after we did an episode on my show, the TED Radio Hour, called Screen Time. And it was all about how this new world that we've embraced, this world of devices, may be changing us. And it's happened in a very short period of time. It's only been 5 or 6 years since these devices have become so ubiquitous. And it's a world where we're no longer bored during our commutes, or waiting in line at the supermarket, or at airports, where we're no longer without access to instant knowledge. The average American spent about 8 hours in front of a screen every day in 2009. But by 2016, according to Nielsen, that number rose to 11 hours a day. That is now more than 1/3 of our lives. And our kids, not only are they noticing this, but they're copying our behavior. According to the American Academy of Pediatrics, children are now spending at least 7 hours in front of a screen every single day. There's a pediatric epidemiologist who was actually on that episode of the TED Radio Hour named Dimitri Christakis. And he says that we are in the midst of this large, uncontrolled experiment on the human species. And he's actually in the middle of his own multi-year study looking at just how screens are affecting children, and of course, by extension, all of us. But because the scientific research needs such a large data set, it quite literally cannot keep up with the pace of technology. So we might only begin to understand the impact of all of this once the damage has been done. 6 years ago, you would have thought it was crazy if you saw somebody walking down the street or through an airport terminal staring at a phone. I mean, you saw those things, but it was still a little weird, right? Today, this is perfectly normal behavior. I mean, today we go to dinner parties and we pull out our phones, or we go on dates with our spouses and friends and we sit around and stare at screens. Even in our workplaces, we'll sit in meetings with colleagues, and someone will be talking, and it's no longer strange for other people to be looking at a device. And as we've come to rely on our devices more and more, we've kind of unconsciously outsourced a part of our own brain function to them, right? I mean, Our devices, if you think about it, are in many ways an external brain. They're an extension of our brain. They serve as our navigators. They hold our memories. They keep our calendars, our reminders, our telephone numbers, names of people we know. They offer us a portal to infinite knowledge. And that means that we no longer have to rely on some of our own biological capabilities to take care of many of the things that our brain was designed to do. And there's already evidence to suggest that screens, well, they're affecting our memories and our attention and even our interpersonal skills. And I think our addiction to devices not only means that our brains may be changing, but our behaviors, our ability to empathize, our manners, our kindness, all of these human traits are evolving in ways that we may not like. You know, like many parents, I struggle with how to handle screen time. In our house, we restrict all screen time to Friday and Saturday nights. But the pull and the power of screens means that our kids, they literally count down the days until the weekend, waiting for their weekly hit of screen serotonin. And that worries me. Now, I am not anti-technology. Our devices are wonderfully enriching and powerful, and we should use them for that purpose, to enhance our lives. So, over the past year, I've been thinking a lot about what I can do in my own small way to try and create an alternative to screen time, a way to keep kids engaged in the car or at the breakfast table, on a flight, all without a screen. The medium that I happen to work in, audio, is on the one hand the most old-fashioned one, but it's also the medium, I believe, that could offer the most promise in that quest. So in 2017, me and a friend of mine named Mindy Thomas set about to create an audio podcast for young kids. And we call it Wow in the World. And we launched it with NPR. It's the first time in NPR's 47-year history that it's offered a program just for kids. It's a show about science and discovery and, most importantly, wonder. And our motto, eyes up, screens down, jaws dropped. We actually think of it as a cartoon, except with no visual images, just pictures that each kid creates in his or her own mind. And so far, we've been so excited with the reactions. You know, we see the show as a way for kids and their grown-ups to connect. We even post questions on our website for parents to keep the conversation going with their kids once they've listened. And the idea is to remind ourselves that we are social animals. We need interaction. We need connection. We need human contact. And we need to be present in the company of other humans, our family, our friends, and our coworkers. Now, I am not a poster child for a life free from the shackles of technology. And in my case, with my phone, I still cheat. I cheat more than I like to admit. But I've made it much, much harder for myself to do so. So, has it meant that I've missed some important emails or tweets or some breaking news? Yes. Has it meant that some of my coworkers are annoyed because I'm no longer instantly responding to emails? Yes, it has. But has it been worth it? Yes. And more importantly, my 6-year-old, he's now drawing portraits of me holding a baseball glove.